All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Do Hard Things podcast. I'm Jay Teagues, and I have with me the ravishing Angie Petran. How are you doing this morning, Angie?
I'm great. And I just realized I'm on the opposite side as normal.
Yeah, why did that happen?
I don't know.
It's throwing you off?
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, for those listening, we video this, so you can always check us out on
Yeah.
YouTube and socials. But yeah, you are on the opposite side. That's
Yeah, I
weird.
am. Yeah,
All right.
come see how we look first thing Monday morning. Good morning.
Well, this morning is really all about resiliency. It's about today is 9/11, and we want to talk about some of the events of 9/11, but really a big focus on resilience. We did the 9/11 5K and 9.11 mile run and ruck over the weekend, and that's really the spirit of what the Do Hard Things Nation is about. It's about facing challenge. It's about rising up in the face of adversity. And 9/11, was an event that our country and our community was forced to rise up and face a sense of resilience. And so it's a special day of honor and remembrance, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So we want to reflect on that, but let's get the business end out of the way real quick. So before we get into today's episode, make sure you smash that subscribe button so you're notified of future episodes. Leave us a review; it goes a long way for us to expand the Do Hard Things Nation, the empire there. If you're not a part of the Facebook page, come join us there. We got the website, the dohardthingsnation.com. Share it with a couple of your friends so they know what we're all about, and surely there's a message here that will inspire someone in some way. And this episode is sponsored by The Forge. The Forge is a high performance community over at lionsguide.com. And, Lions Guide is a leadership development academy, and we focus on the Forge is specifically for those that are looking to climb the next level in their personal development journey. We network, we provide frameworks, offer challenges and accountability through a specific high performance curriculum. So it's a great place to connect and take your journey to the next level. So go check out lionsguide.com if you'd like to learn more about that. We're also sponsored by Do Hard Things Apparel. I'm wearing, it's cool because now I've got such a collection. Lacey's made such a collection for me. I open up my closet and I'm like, what? I need some inspiration today. So I grabbed this Never Surrender shirt that I'm wearing today, and it just like fires me up, right?
Yes.
And so we have a variety of different motivational shirts over there. They're super soft. You'll get ruined because Lacey has made such soft products. People absolutely love them. So go check out dohardthingsnation.com. You can also see the events that we have going on. You can learn a little bit more about what we're doing over there. So check that out. And upcoming events. We don't have anything scheduled yet because we just executed the Do Hard Things 5K 9/11 run, but we're going to be doing it again next year. So mark your calendars. I don't have the specific date on that one yet. We'll get that one out there. And I suspect that we're going to have something else coming up soon. So like I said, check out dohardthingsnation.com. And if you're not part, you can also join the newsletter from there too. So, all right. So that's the business end of things. So the importance of 9/11. So I guess I just kind of want to recap the race. We can start off there if you're cool with that. We held the race at Cooper's Landing on Saturday morning. We had the Boone County Fire Department and the Columbia Fire Department out there to send us off. We had 376 registered. So for that location, like Cooper's Landing is kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. It's between Columbia, Missouri and Jefferson City, and it's right on just a kind of a crook of the river. The river makes a turn, and it's right off the Katy Trail. The Katy Trail is a 237 mile like rails to trail that they've converted into a running path, and people travel all over to go there. And I would say that location of the river, there's a stretch probably about 30 to 40 miles that are absolutely beautiful. And from that section going all the way into Rocheport is just magnificent. You've got the bluffs, you've got the river. It's just really pretty. And the Cooper's Landing is a campground, if you will. And they have live music out there almost like every night of the week. It's a super cool place. It's beautiful in the morning, and then at the sunset in the evening. And it gets pretty crowded out there. So we enjoyed going out there, and we're like, you know what, we need to put an event out there. So this is the second annual event. And we had 376 registered. Now that also included some of our virtual participants. We did a ruck, a run, and the 5K. We had Sid Bush former podcast guest and weekly spotlight winner here. Sid is from Charleston, South Carolina, and he drove out to be there with us. And he's a legendary runner, and he's become a great friend of the Do Hard Things Nation. And I'll talk a little bit more about him and introduce him properly here in a minute. But he was there. Noah Austin donated his time to come out and sing. We had some fantastic volunteers come out to help us put on the race, and it was a success. And the reason that we chose that location is because, one, it's beautiful. We wanted to do it on 9/11 because we noticed that there wasn't there's some events, but we wanted to do a physical event up there.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Do Hard Things brand, we want to do something with meaning. So that's when we do events, we want to have some type of purpose behind them. So overall, it was a great success. And I guess as far as I wanted to kind of highlight, I had some opening remarks for the event, and I just kind of wanted to maybe kind of read those and kind of highlight some of the bullet points from that today, because I think it's we held that event in regards to 9/11. So I'll just read a few of the notes that I have here. So, let me start off with one more thing. My friend James Turnbaugh posted something this morning, I guess to set the table here. So on this day, 9/11 was 22 years ago. And on this day, as we're recording this right now, 6:00 in the morning, Central Time, 6:06. So 22 years ago today, 246 people went to sleep in preparation for their morning flights. 2,606 people went to sleep in preparation for work in the morning. 343 firefighters went to sleep in preparation for their morning shift. 60 police officers went to sleep in preparation for their morning patrol, and 8 paramedics went to sleep in preparation for their morning shift. And not a single one of them saw past 10 a.m. that morning. So I was thinking, I read that this morning, and I'm like, we'll never forget. And my Facebook feed's kind of flooding with that. And I remember that day. It was so like it came out of it was just a horrific day, and I couldn't imagine the people that were involved in the events. Like they were just going through their day, like we're going through our normal routine now, and this horrific tragedy had unfolded with them not returning, and they're and they leave behind friends and family, and that those memories are quite visceral. And so, 22 years have passed since the tragic events of 9/11, but we still feel the wounds. They're still fresh. We're here, and this is from the speech, not just to run and ruck, but to honor, remember, and to stand united as a community. And it was just great to see the community there. That's why we have these events, right? So we can gather as a community. 9/11 is not just about commemorating the past, but also fostering unity and resilience for the future. And the courage shown by the first responders, as well as those that were involved, who stepped up to help, remains a significant part of the narrative surrounding the day. And it was a remarkable day. I remember 9/12 and how our country just felt like united. Like I haven't really felt that since, the days following 9/11. 9/11 shook us to our core, but it also revealed the strength, the courage, and the resilience inherent in the human spirit. Our first responders ran into the fray not knowing if they'd come back, and today we honor that bravery. And that's really what these memorials are about. The indomitable spirit of the first responders and everyone involved showed that day, and the aftermath was quite impressive. And I think that speaks to the American spirit. And when it comes to mindset, one of my favorite analogies is that every morning in Africa, a gazelle wakes up. It knows it must run faster than the fastest lion or it'll be killed. Every morning, the lion wakes up and it knows it must run faster than the slowest gazelle or it will starve to death. And the gazelle is running out of fear of being killed while the lion is running to chase you. And it's chasing that very thing that it knows it needs to keep it alive. And, so which animal are you? And I think of fostering that never surrender mindset, because tragedy is going to happen. The one thing that I have learned on my time on this planet is that every single person has challenge or adversity, and it comes in a variety of different forms. And we have to develop the resilience to deal with it. If we can develop the resilience, it makes navigating those challenges a little bit easier. And I think that we need to put ourselves in a controlled environment of growth, getting out of our comfort zone, um, finding opportunities to challenge, to do those hard things, so that we have the resilience to persevere when tragedy strikes. And 9/11, really speaks to how our society, and it's an amazing story of, I mean, there's tragedy in it, but how we overcame it. Uh, there's a lot of inspirational stories in that. And so, I don't know. Those are just some of the thoughts that I had this morning, Angie.
No, no, those are really good. I mean, it's hard for me to it feels like it was yesterday, and it's hard for me sometimes to grasp that we have kids, 22-year-olds living that didn't live through it, you know.
Yeah.
I remember I was ironing my clothes, getting ready for work, watching the news watching TV when it came on. I will never forget that day. It was yeah, a very it was unbelievable when it happened.
Yeah.
It was just like, is this really happening right now? Um, and it's something that just it shook our nation to the core, but we came together and just showed tremendous, tremendous resilience um, in light of everything that happened. But when you talk about the numbers, it's astounding. Have you been to the memorial site in New York City?
I have not been there yet.
It's gorgeous. It is. It is beautiful, and it's just if if you ever get the chance to visit, you really should. And every American should, really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a great place. But yeah, yeah. Today is definitely all about remembering everyone,
Yeah.
everyone.
I was thinking about, as you said, I've got kids that have not, my kids, they weren't alive during 9/11, but I think of, that's what people older, Pearl Harbor, right? Pearl
Hmm.
Harbor was like a 9/11 type event for those that were alive during that time frame. So
Yeah.
this is like, our version of that. And it's important that this is why we have memorials and ceremonies, because we have to teach those that weren't there the importance of that. And I really enjoy getting together as a community. Like, as we're
Hmm.
standing there at the race, over the weekend, it's like you've got just all walks of life, all there together
Yeah.
in unity to just pay honor and respect, to challenge themselves. And I know that our country goes through challenges, and I don't know, the way the media bemoans everything, like, you think that the end of the world is near.
Right.
Our country, historically, it's an American tradition to be divided. Like, our country was divided during the Revolutionary War. Should we stay with England? Should we it was only 3% of the country that actually fought. Like, it was a, you know
Hmm.
we've always been divided on issues. The Civil War, the just what all the wars. Do we participate in this, or do we isolate? A lot of, like, social things. So being divided is part of our existence as Americans. And you would think that the country is about to collapse. I just feel that we're far more resilient, and we're far more united and alike than we are different, although it doesn't seem like that sometimes. And I like these events because it just shows you that we can stand together, we can come together.
Hmm.
And and once again, the Do Hard Things brand is all about, fostering a sense of resilience, creating that resilience in your life by doing difficult things. And 9/11 is just a these all these people, like, I just read that post, that they woke up that day thinking it was going to be a normal day, and it was like a complete tragedy, not
Yeah.
only for them but their family. And how do we overcome that? How can we get past the tragedy? If we're not facing a challenge currently, like, there's one brewing, it seems like they ebb and they flow, and they're of different varieties, and we have serious everyone's got serious tragedy in their life.
Hmm.
And and there's a lot of people that are not handling that well, right, from a mental capacity. And that's what we're all about, is trying to help. foster that. So, yeah, 9/11. I was actually here. I was stationed in Hawaii, but I was here for BNOC, the basic non-commissioned officer course.
Mhm.
And I remember it was the day that we're actually building the Bailey Bridge. So we're actually out on the site, and this was, 9/11. Not we had cell phones,
Yeah.
and so when did we start actually? When did everyone start carrying cell phones? It was still fairly early on.
Yeah,
I think most people had cell phones then, because I
so let's
remember
see, South Carolina, we lived in South Carolina. We had cell phones, but they were still
like the flip
extremely
phones, right?
like, yeah, they were flip phone. Well, some of them were, but they were still super like, they were really they weren't affordable. I'm gonna put it that way. They
Yeah,
were not affordable for everyone. We had them. We had access to them, but they still weren't affordable.
I remember it because it was like the first time that I remember just like a bunch of cell phones were going off at the same time.
Mhm.
And you're like, whoa, that was just weird. Like, what's
Yeah,
up? What's going
yeah,
on? And then people were starting to get the news, like, hey, turn on the TV. Hey, go check this out.
yeah.
Because I've seen that event happen a few times, but that was like the first time. It was like
Mhm.
because I kept dating myself. People's Nokia's flip phones were like
Yeah.
going off. And people started getting, like, you could tell the news that they were getting, like, something wasn't good. But we were out on site, so we had to finish up. So during the day, we finished early, but
Mhm.
we couldn't come in until like later in the afternoon. And then I remember they pulled us into, we got off the bus, we went into the day room, and then we were sitting there watching the TV, and it was just
Mhm.
so hard to believe. Like, I thought I was watching like an action movie, like, Bruce Willis was gonna come out of
Yeah,
there or something like that.
yeah.
I couldn't believe it. It was so hard to wrap your head around. And yeah, and I guess from there the rest is history. It changed the trajectory. Being in the military, everything had changed from that day on,
Mhm.
and that led us into the campaigns in Afghanistan and Iraq. And so we've all been affected by this event,
Mhm.
and we've all had to demonstrate some type of resilience and courage to face it.
Yeah.
Um, so
I rem so we were in South Carolina, and back then the post was open.
mm,
You could even get on without a pass. I mean, as long as you had your driver's license, and I don't remember if they scanned them back then, I'm sure they did. And immediately the gates closed, in South Carolina. Fort
yeah,
Jackson's huge. And I remember having to Rudy, for those of you listening, Rudy's my husband, and he's a retired MP. He was working the gates, and the line would be so long to try to get on the installation that sometimes I would park and walk up if he needed something and I'd take it to him, and it was quicker for me to walk past all the cars versus trying to get on the installation, after this happened. Just, little things you don't think about, but it really changed how we operate.
yeah, yeah. Uh, I remember Fort Leonard Wood. We used to be a drive on post. You just drive
Mhm.
on and off, and
Yeah.
you still get on a plane, not have to get like hassled by the TSA. So that's not one of my favorite things from all of this, but obviously it's necessary. Uh, so I mean, everything changed. It's just it
Yeah.
was an event that changed everything.
Mhm.
Um, and Yeah, I appreciate just people taking the time out to remember these things, and it's something, it's part of. I dedicate time to it every year. I know I've been to a lot of events. One of my favorite events it happens in St. Louis every 9/11 is they do the March to the Arch,
Mhm.
and I love that event because it doesn't cost anything to go. You just grab a flag and you walk 21 miles. They meet up over there in Town and Country, Missouri, and they walk as a group down to the Arch, and they get
Mhm.
bussed back. Someone's donated buses back, and it started from a veteran, Bo Drockelman. He used to be in the Army, a Vietnam veteran, and at the 1 year anniversary after 9/11, he was just thinking about it, frustrated. He just grabbed his flag off his porch and just started walking,
Mhm.
and he just walked by himself down to the Arch, not knowing that he was going to do that. He just kind of needed to decompress and get it out,
Mhm.
and his wife ended up picking him up later that day. I think she called him throughout the day to make sure he was okay. And he's just like, you know what,
Yeah.
I'm walking. And it's become a thing every year. And there's so many events. There's like stair climbing events.
Mhm.
There's all sorts of activities that are out there. So I would just encourage you to participate in one of those. Take a moment to go. bring your kids to something like that so they can
Yeah.
see and understand. Because unfortunately, I these events happen from time to time, and I think in our history of our country, there's going to be some other event. It's going to. I don't want to be a doom and gloom, but these things happen from time to time.
Mhm.
We need to remember, and I think that helps prepare for the future. And I think it demonstrates. I love the sense of community, um, and that we get from participating in these, in addition to the history lesson. Like, you can read about it in a book, but to actually be there and talk to people, like, where were you on 9/11, and experience people's stories, I think is just.
Well, and I'm glad you said that because I was just sitting here thinking about it. It was only 22 years ago, only
Yeah.
22 years ago, and we still have many people that are with us today that witnessed all the events unfold in New York City. And so they may be experiencing some type of PTSD, some type of,
Mm,
something that they're going through. But if you know someone, reach out to them. If you know someone that was there, that lived through it, that's still with us today, reach out. And if they are okay to talk about it, talk about it with them. Learn about how they felt and what they experienced and what they went through on this day 22 years ago. I mean, that's the best
yeah.
way to really get a firsthand account.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So I want to talk about our guests, because we take tragedy, how to be more resilient. So Sid Bush, he's like I said, I don't know which podcast episode, but he is a previous podcast I had him on, and I had met him last year at a local run, the Frog Hill Half Marathon, and he came out. He graced us with his time, and so Senior Chief Sid Bush is a U.S. Navy veteran. He's a legendary runner in the running community, valued friend, and a true patriot. And to Sid, every day is Memorial Day, and he takes his time to honor veterans and those that have fallen. And early in his Navy career, he was on a submarine, and he lost his wife Allison and baby boy Seth to a drunk driver. He got the news from the captain of the ship. Brought him to the stateroom, and he's like, "Oh, he's a young, I want to say sonarman, I believe." Sid, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he worked on sonar. Sonars or radios, one of the two. And he's like, "Oh, this can't be good." Right? He's going to go to the captain's office, and the captain was like, "I don't know how to tell you this, but your wife and child are deceased from a drunk driver." And he couldn't get back in time even for the funeral, because when you're out at sea like that in a
Mm.
sub, and he went through a dark period of his life, obviously, right? I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine, the feelings that he felt getting that devastating news, and went down a path of just, despair and grief, right? And he talked about some struggles with alcohol and things like that. And but he made a choice. He made a decision. He knew that something needed to change, and he channeled that tragedy into something positive, and spent, he's 77 now, and he spent the rest of his life running marathons, half marathons, 5Ks and 10Ks, traveling the country, and running for the fallen. And every run he runs, he dedicates, he's got a photo of them on his back, he carries a flag, he donates the medal to the family for who he's running. And he took some tragedy and selfishly dedicated his life to channel that negative into a positive. And he just inspires the hell out of me. He's ran over 206 marathons, over 836 half marathons, which is about 16,000 miles. So he's run across the United States more than 5 times. And he's still getting after it today. He's 77. He's still got amazing, just indomitable spirit. You can tell it's still, obviously, it's very emotional for him. I think about it and I get emotional, because it's the easier thing to do is to tap out and let your demons overtake you.
Mhm.
It's another level of hard to channel that energy into something positive. But I think it's incumbent upon us to do that. We all have tragedy. We all have to take that energy and do something positive with it. And that's probably one of the hardest things to do. But I think I think that we're all being tested in some capacity on our life as we float around in space in this planet.
Mhm.
And when we have to prepare for the tests, and when the test comes, you know that there's going to be hardship, and we need to channel that energy into something positive versus being destructive. And
Yeah.
so here's a man that could have easily, in our community, 22 a day, right? Or became an alcoholic or so many other self-destructive things. And he chose to do something positive. And so
Yeah.
that to me embodies like what the do hard things spirit is about. And when I think of like 9/11 and these memorials, like taking tragedy, doing something positive, like tragedy is going to happen to all of us. And we got to channel that and turn that into something good.
Yeah.
I love what David Goggins says the other day. He's like, when life hands you lemons, what do? You make lemonade? No, you eat the fucking lemon.
Yeah, it's funny you brought Goggins up because I'm listening to his book Never Finished, his second book, and I'm almost done with that. But as we're talking about resilience and doing hard things, and he's just, if you either like Goggins or you don't. I absolutely love Goggins. Like, I love listening to him, and I just hear his voice in the back of my mind. Just saying all the things that he says that I'm not going to say on air, but he says them. But his second book, if you've listened to the first, you definitely, and you liked it, definitely listen to the second one. We're not sponsored by him, but he's a very motivational individual if you like that type of person. And I think he's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's human like everyone else. But he does say some things that are pretty inspirational. I really,
yeah.
The freaking LinkedIn's not going to like that. We're streaming on LinkedIn. I'm probably the last time on LinkedIn, everybody.
No.
Sorry for the cuss word. I got passionate. I get excited. Yeah. Couldn't help it. No filter. But no, that's it. You got to eat the freaking lemon, right? You got to and that's what I love about that. Sometimes we just need to hear that. We need to be reminded of that, and that's it. Never surrender. I'm wearing the shirt today, like never surrender. And I feel like I'm challenged, going through a period of challenge right now. But I'm not tapping out. Can't tap out.
Nope.
Got to be resilient in the face of adversity. So. Well, I would like to transition now to our weekly spotlight winner. Share my screen here. This is a gentleman that I really appreciate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Paul Carlock. He is from St. Charles, Missouri. I met him a few times during the March to the Arch, that 21-mile walk, and he is he's just a great American. He is just, if I remember right, Paul, and I don't believe he's ever served, but he is so like he participates in like flags of valor. He's just so thankful of the veteran first responder community, and every 9/11 or any event that's patriotic, he's always showing his support. He came out to the 9/11 our event, and he walks and he holds the flag high. Like when you walk, you know who Paul is. He just slow and steady, and he just walks. He's just a great American, great patriot. And I don't know if you've ever seen the Flags of Valor event, but every so often they have a display at like Forest Park in St. Louis, and I think they do some events around the country. Maybe it's just regional, but there's like a flag for every fallen person on 9/11, and it's quite an incredible display. It takes a lot of behind the scenes work to do that, and he's just someone that's always just thankful and participating and helping behind the scenes with these events. And just a great American, and he just embodies the indomitable spirit. And when I think of like just patriots getting out there and being united and being passionate, that's Paul. So Paul, we definitely appreciate you. He did our event. He did the 9/11. He's walking the 21 miles today, so he's doing a full 30 miles in like 72 hours. So
awesome.
Paul, we appreciate you.
Yes.
Enjoy your walk today, and I wish I was out there with you today, brother. But appreciate what you do, and it takes a lot of effort behind the scenes to put on events like that and to participate. So we appreciate your sacrifice to that and being a great American. So appreciate you.
Absolutely.
So that's it. That's all I got for today. It's it's
Monday.
always it's Monday. We something cool. There's a small high school here called Crocker, the Crocker School District. Their mascot is the Lions. So I love that because Lions Guide. And they're small team, and they're doing a run today at 3:45. They signed up for the virtual, and they're going to be running at 3:45. And I'm going to go out there and run with them.
That is
And
awesome.
they reached out to the community. The community's going to come out and set up some aid stations for them and be there. So I'm excited that I can. That's why I'm not doing the March to the Arch. Decided to go up there
Mhm.
today, and I don't know. It's just awesome. It's great that the team wanted to participate in it,
Yeah.
and these so all the runners they weren't around during 9/11, right? But they're doing this run to participate, and I just think it's awesome that the community's coming out to help support them. And I don't know. I'm near and dear to that because a cross country coach helped me out early in my life. It was that coach. It was that role model that demonstrated, invited me to do something challenging, like join the cross country team. So I'm truly honored because that's near and dear to my heart. Small
Mhm.
school cross country team, a coach trying to teach the children, because that's really
Yeah.
the coach is someone I served with, and so it just tickles me pink, right? Like, is that something?
Oh, that's really neat.
Yeah. So it's just I'm honored. I'm honored
Yeah.
and flattered, and I wouldn't miss that for the world. So
That's awesome.
that's
That's
just another
awesome.
side note, just another thing. So wherever you're at, if you're listening this today, take some time to remember. You
Mhm.
got kids, take them out somewhere, talk to them about the event.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be a big tear jerking event. You don't have to get all, but just it's important to talk about it and talk about
Yes.
the importance of resilience.
Yes.
And
Teach our history. Absolutely.
yeah,
And, while you're at it, smile at somebody today. Give 'em a smile.
absolutely.
Yeah, make 'em
Yes,
smile. Share a smile even if they don't smile back. Sometimes people
absolutely.
don't smile back at me, they just look at me like I'm crazy, and it's fine. I just keep smiling.
Just
So,
kill them with kindness.
yeah.
Smile.
Yep. Alright, well,
All
have
right.
a fantastic Monday today.
Yeah. If you're listening, we appreciate you. Make
Mhm.
someone smile, do hard things. We'll see you guys next episode.